Yeah, yeah. What is you talking about? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Bitch. Yeah, bitch. What is you talking about, bitch? And then bitch. Yo. Hey, yo. Fuck, bitch. Ah! Yeah! Yeah! That nigga said he still got time. I get it back to the man. Did it, man. I get it back. Ah! Ah! Oh, got that knocking, bitch.
Like city, slime, you still got touch. I hit it rest in the bed, nigga, acting it up. Yeah, tell the man, got these niggas mad as fuck. Hey, we done bring these niggas, they sharing the cups. Hey, they niggas running the bitch, they sharing the lines.
Oh,
Yeah, the body feel the stomach, they know what they want. And then Cody, Hody, always lying. Yeah, spilling that codeine, I don't care about your little Nissan. Yeah, love to start that flexes. Yeah, we can keep it goes. I'm in that hole in fellas. Yeah, these niggas really ain't love. All they doing they telling. My nigga came with the balls, keeping the pack of melon. Yeah, he need to talk about money. These nigga be running. I let that nigga all summer. Yeah, that nigga be one for me. Yeah, look at this hoe on the surface. And I got that little hoe coming. This is what she want. This is what she want. Yeah. Nigga get all money, got no pot of bag. Bitch, I get to the cash. These are niggas in last. These are niggas be ass. I know how many legs in bed, might buy a whole bag. That's already fit, so she don't need no ass. I'm on codeine, in the nosebleeds. I get high as God, nigga, I can't sleep. Standing with the especially niggas don't need none of me. I rather should be easy, niggas under me.
well, I am getting ready to play the game. I am going to be shaving my face, you know, and roll up, you know. I was high key already tired as fuck, bro. Yeah, you know what I mean, bro. Nigga was already faded as a motherfucker. Like, I'll be feeling like I'm already like, I'll be already feeling like I'm in flow state, bro. Already, bro. You know, like a nigga just already be just flowing. A nigga just be flowing like a motherfucker, bro. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, nigga just be flowing. Alright. My baby BS, it ain't nothing but we gon' get that drink on the phone, nigga from the pop. I'm not falling off like Fetty Wap. I don't need no victories from you niggas who I swear to God, first day in my life, I'm bringing it to the block. Nigga, you always there, that shit can't go. My backwoods be so big, this shit look like hookah spinners. I be in this
goes over here. We got smoke, no cap. I still pull up occasion. Couldn't do no too high, get out my face. We do carry out no days. Get special treatment when I show. Cause I'm famous. So fully, you know, you need some time. Like rap rolls and never know it don't matter. Cause I end up smelling like some sort of blonde. Bitch make me mad. Make her cry. So let's go. Think I had to fly. Try.
I don't even do no shit. Alright. I gotta clean me face up, mate. Let me clean me face up. It's a little chappy right here, mate. It's very chappy right here. Oh, yeah, that ain't right, eh? Thinking that ain't hard, eh? Fucking hard, Exotic bras, eh? Yeah, draws, eh? We got foreign cars, got 200 on this car, like, this is going hard, on the highway. Meet me in fucking sideways. Bitch, you like fucking shot, yeah, you fly, I'm trying to get these things straight. Yeah, you looking for that dope, same gas tank. Yeah, you got those for shows, who that you make. Yeah, you got these man, repaint. Yeah, looking up in there for the other thing. Yeah, I got to wear my hands just like Sean State. Slime, yeah, he slime all day. The wrong way. And then put his life, get the parlor, the parlor. He's trying to take me out. He's trying to take me out, trying to take me out. No, I got some kids, man. I feel all my kids. Be Wiz, Be Wiz, Be Wiz. Yeah, I mean, man's a little choppy, mate. Hey, Bubble. Get that stuff right here for me. You want me to get all this stuff right here? Yeah, get all these stuff right here. All right, mate. I'm going to, mate. What up, bro? Alright, like, get this on the highway. On the highway. We leaning fucking sideways. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell you do? What the hell you do to me? Don't trust him. Okay, I choose. I like this song. It's my truck. They say you love me. Here's your house. Here's your house. Boy, you so counterfeit and fake. I been cut you off. I did what I did. I know what I told. Cause you cut me off. When I went in and you hear my clutch, you might as well. Before you don't make it up. Hold on, shut up. I'm telling bro, you know ain't no joke. With no soul, but if we came from the south. In the same clothes, running over, we came out the house. Yeah, all the hoes, nigga playing, we had them out. My mama don't want to see you with a nigga, so when is the drop? Carry space, no fake. I'm gonna pull your bum, your leg, your left leg. Check, this bird check, it's like my kid, just like me, like a tick. Just like me, no more stress, don't be flat, wait till the break. I'm keep going all the way, lifestyle never been
Flipping the ball away. Young nigga look like Stan say. Straight from the no pen and paper. Cutting that 15 minutes say. Balls on the mouth like a lifesaver. He help me. He help you get back on your feet. Yeah, it's right on the tree. Right on right on me. On me. Catch right up that truck to see. Money. Wi-Fi truck in the street. Man, I still yelling in too tough. Yeah, Chris, I ain't been up on Chris. Yeah, fuck nigga hoes, I ain't got less. That big cat, man, give it up. Let me give him G so you know I wait for. Heard you being on that, yeah, cuffed up. Now I got your main hoe in my truck. I ain't trying to cut you out there, say you love me. This ain't your ball, you ain't dead for us. If I get on your hoe, I ain't laying up. If I get on your hoe, I ain't laying up. Please watch your mouth. Please watch your house. Please watch your spouse. Please don't count TV and fake. I think cause you off. I did what I did. I know what I sold cause you count me out. When I'm on the hit and you hear my clutch, you hear my exhaust. Yeah, I came from the bottom. I came from a place where you don't make it out. I own a truck, house with color blue where you know I don't drop. Smoking all you got in the trap in the day. I can't trust nobody, so instead, we baby. If I'm tripping, it hang me out. Stop it when I had around. Started it out from a gun now. You want to? It's just me and you. Me and you. I'm summer wrong. Summer wrong. Try you. When I chat, I had to get my beard right. I had to get my low taper beard. Low taper beard thing. But you can be me on that watch stand. In this fucking function. Taste of love. The taste of love. It fills me up. Sensations. Change it. I get you poor for the wrong reason. I'll get you poor for the right reason. Smoke those monkeys, put them on the season.
Smoke so much dope, got my eyes bleeding. Bringing. You talk to my friends, tell me who you bringing. You talk to my crib, tell me who you bringing. Niggas plotting, niggas scheming. Niggas tell me to fall up, but it's been dreaming. Caught up with the DC. I'm working on a shit and you're not a streamer. I can't be a family guy because I'm not Peter. I can't be a family guy because I'm not Lois. Niggas owe me. Stalling. I ain't no fucking stalling. Alright, let me start flexing on y'all niggas. Let me start flexing on y'all niggas.
In the world of One Piece, there are a plethora of warring factions.
Today, we're moving on One Piece. One Piece.
In the world of One Piece, there are a plethora of warring factions. The largest of these include the Pirates, Marines, World Government, and the Revolutionary Army. But among them exists an extremely high-ranking group known as the Holy Ones. These select...
I don't think y'all understand on a multi-level aspect, the One Piece is fucking resembling real life as we fucking live today, bro. If you don't understand that, you are really a fucking numbnuts, bro. I don't know what to tell you, bro.
Answer directly to the Gorosei and Imu, who rules the world of the shadow. Their main priority is protecting Marijoa and its celestial dragons. Even the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Dragon, holds the Holy Knights on a dangerous pedestal. The true war against the world government will begin when they mobilize, with their former leader being the father of Red-Haired Shanks and the brother of Shanks being one of their top fighters. But how would this group fare compared to the strongest the Marines have to offer? Before we continue, make sure to like and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get right into this video. Since there are 8 Holy Knights, I think it's only fair we use the main 5 admirals we see in the story. You could also include Scarp and Sengoku, but as we haven't seen what all the Holy Knights can do, I think keeping it like this is more fair. And considering we will also include Garland, who used to lead the Holy Knights before his promotion to the Gorosei, Akainu being considered to the fight is fine, as he is also the leader of the Marines. The first thing that any matchup, including the Gorosei or Holy Knights, need to go over is how exactly could somebody defeat them through their regeneration and immortality. Their regeneration is so potent that it easily lets them survive some of the most fatal wounds. Well, recently One Piece has given us that answer exactly in 3 different ways. Gabon explains that in order to stall or negate their regeneration, one needs to have an extremely strong Conqueror's Haki. None of the admirals seemingly have Conqueror's Haki, besides maybe Akainu and Muzan. But the previously Admiral Sengoku is stated to have been a user of Conqueror's Haki in his Beaver Card. As Akainu's sense of justice is absolute, and he has an interest in leadership, it's not unfair that he'd have it, especially since Conquerors like Katakuri exist. But regardless of Akainu having Conquerors, he doesn't have any feats with it showing he can completely negate the Holy Knight's regeneration. We see that even Luffy can't stop the Gorosei for long when he stated that there's nothing he can do that can harm them. This would of course include Conquerors, and Gabon saying that Zoro and Luffy need to increase their potency of the ability just further goes to show that a base level of Conqueror's Haki isn't enough. Well, luckily for the Admirals, 2 other ways of taking down the Holy Knights have been shown. One simply being incapacitating them and preventing their limbs from rejoining, and the other being seemingly destroying their steel hearts. Zoro proposes this idea, and Summers is very clearly terrified of it, implying there's some truth to what Zoro is saying. Needless to say, all of the Admirals could use these methods to take down the Holy Knights if needed. But just because they have a way to win doesn't necessarily mean they're strong enough to. So how exactly do the Holy Knights scale? Ever since their introduction, the Holy Knights have been hyped up to have some insane combat prowess.
Loading!
They really do until the
I want to give
events
y'all
of
a little
Elbaf
bit more
Valley last year.
entertaining.
But the first Holy Knights that we see on Elbaf are Shamrock and Gunko, who are here to recruit Loki as part of their military.
Y'all watch One Piece, y'all?
Loki refuses,
Let me know if y'all watch
Shamrock
One.
attack him. Although weakened and defenseless,
I'ma still
they're able
inform
to
y'all
harm him. These
about
injuries
my,
are stated to be so bad
my
that
One
the
Piece
Pokemon
logic
are
and
gonna
shit,
heal.
but you know,
Shamrock doesn't have much scaling at the moment, but he is definitely narratively meant to
the
be
Lost
powerful,
Emperors.
as he is the brother of Shanks, and they have been implied to be.
I'm gonna go to Grand Line.
Neuronami Hawk is real. Just look at this image that I found on Twitter. But the idea that the world
Hold on Grand Line reviews, man. They talk that actual real shits, bro. So, as you can see, I'm a One Piece fanatic. I'm a full One Piece fanatic, man. Mm, this theory is ridiculous, but it works. The wait was worth it. I choose him. They definitely is not choosing Usopp. Usopp is. I want to go over the fact as well. Was prepping. They was hyping the living fucking shit out of Usopp, bro. Saying Elbaf is gonna be his art. This is gonna be his art. This is kind of high key, like depressing as shit, bro. Cause it's like he ain't get shit yet, bro. This nigga Usopp, he's still a literal fucking dub, bro. He ain't getting nothing yet. The biggest straw hat raccoon, you know. That's my dude, Kid, bro. That's my dude, Kid. I ain't even going. We ain't even gonna do that to y'all, bro. Y'all niggas ain't even ready for my nigga Kid to come back, bro. Let's let's see. That's how you know they only fucking with my wings. That's how you made. How much you got that nigga wings? This shouldn't be possible. Let's do the Joy Boy. How you gonna follow me?
Man on the internet, when are you going to talk about Luffy being petrified at the sight of Joy Boy's haki in the anime? I think I shall talk about it now. In episode 1153, Emmett undoes the knot containing Joy Boy's haki, and this scene plays out very differently in the anime than it did in the manga. And one of those key differences is Luffy's reaction, which I will say is a little bland in the manga. We have the surprise Luffy detecting, oh, what's this? Conqueror's haki? It's not really anything special, and it's certainly not something that anyone was noting when the manga chapter came out. The anime is a different story though, because in episode 1153, Luffy was given an extremely serious reaction, which was rather uncharacteristic for his attitude in Gear 5th. I think that was initially so striking about it for me. We have since seen him get angry and serious on Elbaf, but at the time, nah. But in the anime, it seems like feeling this particular haki almost acts as a bit of a sobering agent for Luffy, breaking him out of the high of Gear 5th. And it's not just the fact that it's Conqueror's haki. Luffy feels that all the time. It's probably more about exactly whose Conqueror's haki Luffy is feeling, and he may not know it, but to some degree, Luffy may recognize it. That's not the main thing that people picked up on. The most interesting choice that was made during this episode was the fact that during the release of Joy Boy's haki, Luffy's eyes change Naruto style, and they both become these little sun symbols, which I need to emphasize does not happen in the manga. Luffy's eyes, they stay perfectly bland and flat at all times, and while I do think that this is cool, very cool, I would not take this as anything but the artists and animators sprinkling a bit of creativity and agency into their work, which I say because there is a slight risk of anime viewers seeing things like this and thinking that the presence of Joy Boy's haki is tapped into some sort of Luffy secret sun god mode, and that this may be some foreshadowing of Luffy's final form, the purest incarnation of Nika, which is a thing that may happen. There's a lot of One Piece left, and I don't think the Gear 5th will be Luffy's final form, but this has happened before, just not quite as obvious. Anyone who gets the opportunity to animate Gear 5th tends to treat the experience with a great degree of care, such as in episode 1074, when Luffy and Kaido clash like this, and this happened so fast you probably didn't even see what happened, but in the impact frame, Luffy's lightning takes on the shape of a sun symbol, the same sun symbol that was used in his eyes on Egghead Island, in addition to what also appears to be a sword, a spear, and maybe a bow intersecting with the sun, which again, I think is very cool. Gear 5th is a power-up that was made with animation in mind, and it is the medium that will always excel the best at portraying. But back to the Joy Boy haki scene though, it has also been noted that the sound of the haki release is very similar to, if not exactly the same, as the sound effect when Emu used Uranus to destroy Lucia. Questions, so many questions that I need answered, and instead of waiting, I am going to ask Mr. Shanks pretty directly using Polybuzz, a free, private, and immersive AR chat platform with over 20 million characters, including the one that is like said, look, I have a better idea. Forget whatever I was going to do, because I just found Boa Hancock that I've come up with a devious plan. Kiss, marry, kill, Walpole, Helmeppo, and Saint Charles. And for any of you watching, please do leave your answers in the comments below. I'm mildly interested, but here is Boa Hancock's response. Walpole is just a pathetic former king who failed. Helmeppo, that weakling would never dare.
Well, this hurting my brain with this AI shit, bro.
I'd gladly petrify him if he dare shows his face on my island. Alright, so for a second there, it felt like Charleston might have had an out of this small chance. However, Boa Hancock, what she has done, she has refused to play the game, deeming none of these worthy of...
I fucking refuse to give y'all content like this, bro. Alright, hold on. One Piece explaining slavery. I did a fucking essay on this shit. Did a whole goddamn, what the fuck, 5-page fucking essay on this shit. My final essay was on some dumbass shit like this, bro. There's not even no dumbass shit.
800 years ago, a group of 20 kings formed a mighty organization known as the World Government. Look at that symbol, pirates. That mark represents the unity of over 170 nations in the four seas and the Grand Line. This is the world.
Hello and welcome to One Piece 101, a series that breaks down everyone and everything in the One Piece world. Today we are going to be detailing the absolutely massive governing body of the majority of the One Piece planet, the World Government.
The
World Government is by far the largest organization within the series, which presents itself as a unifying force of justice and order within the world.
It is affiliated with roughly 170 nations spread across the globe,
all of whom maintain their own sovereignty, remaining free to rule over their specific lands in more or less any way they choose. However, they must comply with the world government in the realm of international affairs.
As a result,
the widespread opinion of the world government amongst the citizens of the globe is highly favorable, as they are seen as a force of protection and progress. Although the reality of the situation is more bleak than this generally accepted view. And this organization could more accurately be described as a totalitarian institute, demanding absolute subservience to the needs and commands of its central figures, and will often engage in incredible efforts to quell any form of power that could be perceived as a potential threat to their own.
Tell me that's not resembling the real world right now, bro. Tell me that's not fucking resembling the real world as we're speaking, bro. Complete obedience, whatever the fuck the government is saying, no matter what. Taxes, my nigga. Going to work. I don't know how else can I keep on going, bro. Like slavery, genocide. Genocide is like what? It's only been 150, 170 years since like complete extreme genocide has been going on in America. I mean, hey, man.
Because the world government exists to ensure more than simply the status quo, and it actively pursues the interests of those who control it, being the world nobles, whose ancestors formed the organization roughly 800 years ago. What would become known as the world government was originally an alliance of 20 kingdoms, which included some well-known names in the One Piece world, such as the Don Quixote and Nefertari families. This alliance was brought forth to combat a currently mysterious entity known as the Ancient Kingdom, and after the founding of the alliance, the royalty, the majority of those 20 kingdoms, moved to the Holy Land of Marijuana, where they became known as the Creators, with their descendants going on to become the world nobles. And it should be noted that only one of the royal families remained in their home country, being the Nefertari family of the Alabaster Kingdom. But this alliance would go on to defeat the Ancient Kingdom, and then assume control of the large majority of the world, with an incredible number of nations going on to join them throughout the next 800 years as they became the world government. Over this time, the world government would also come to develop two sub-organizations under its command in order to consolidate its power. The first of which is the Marines, who act as the primary military branch and are recognized as one of the most fearsome powers powers of the world. As such, they are often tapped to further the interests of the world government rather than to simply maintain global order. And they are frequently put to use for morally questionable causes such as genocide, a good example of which being the O'Hara incident, whereby the world government discovered that its island scholars were conducting illegal research on the ancient kingdoms as well as its remaining legacy in the poneglyphs scattered throughout the world. And deeming their knowledge too dangerous and a threat to their power, a fleet of 10 marine battleships and 5 vice admirals, collectively known as the Bustable, was sent to completely obliterate the island and its inhabitants. And it should be known that this island's destroying power represents a mere fraction.
Tell me this is not resembling real life as we speak, bro. The Black Wall Street, the Atlantic slave trade. I mean, MK Ultra guys. I may be talking in circles. Some of you people just don't get it yet, but you know, I mean, slavery is fucking bad as fuck, guys. I mean, even when motherfuckers was in slavery and shit, you know, the goddamn Haitians, them motherfuckers were able to get out while we was still in slavery. And the only reason why we didn't know, because we couldn't read. Yeah.
The full forces of the Marines. However, for more specialist operations, the government created a second organization known as Cypherpol, which are essentially cells of secret agents that carry out investigations, assassinations, and general or specific jobs that require an approach with a bit more finesse. In regards to the agents themselves, the government generally recruits young children, often through child trafficking, and have them specifically trained in the art of espionage until they become old enough to join one of the generic Cypherpol cells, the secretive Cypherpol 9 cell, or the super-duper secret CZ0, the latter of which is by far the most powerful unit who work directly for the world nobles. Speaking of, while the modern-day world nobles do benefit heavily from their ancestry, the world government itself is only controlled by a handful of them, known as the Gorosei, or the Five Elf Stars. As far as the world is concerned, this group of mysterious gents hold by far the most power and influence of any other figures in the series. And it is now that I have to put up a brief spoiler warning for the events of the Reverie arc because it's simply impossible to continue without taking note of this one thing. If you don't wish to be spoiled, then please jump to this point in the video. For the rest of you, let us continue. However, in reality, the Gorosei do answer to at least one person, being the enigmatic figure of Ian. Very little is currently known about this individual, except for the fact that they command complete obedience from the Gorosei, and thus it can be assumed that Ian holds complete control over every facet of the world government organization and operations, although Ian's existence is kept secret from the world at large. However, as the acting body of the world government, the Gorosei have the power to enact more or less whatever they want, including a controversial move to begin yet another organization known as the Seven Warlords of the Sea. This is a group of powerful and notorious pirates generally considered to be criminals of the world, but these specific individuals are granted an exemption and are allowed to continue their crimes without fear of retribution from the world government, provided they do not engage in hostilities with the Marines or nations affiliated with the world government. As such, they serve as something of a deterrent to the overwhelming amount of pirates spread throughout the One Piece world, because if one continues their piratic ways, then they will most certainly run into one of these 7 individuals during their journey, which is highly undesirable.
And don't get me fucking started with the gangs. The gangs are high key the warlords in real life, guys. Like, come on, man. I can't. Like, this why at this point, this shit, being this fucking smart, bro, this shit is fucking miserable, bro. Because motherfuckers just don't be seeing the other fucking. Maybe I'm schizophrenic. Maybe I think too much. Whatever. But, guys, literally, we've been seeing this shit for a while now, man. Like, coup d'etats are not uncommon between the government and corrupted individuals. That's how Haiti was able to get like so many like African countries that just started to kneel down to them, in a sense, because they had coup d'etats and shit. So many African countries, it just gets to a certain point. It's like, what the fuck? And the same thing for like all the Caribbean countries and shit too. And if we're being honest, bro, I would not be surprised if the government like had their hands inside like these, man. not being surprised. Literally, Nixon, he real live made it a actual goddamn legislation act, bro. Like destroying all of the black leaders and like implanting new ones. The warlords that we have right now, quote unquote, the drug leaders, they're high key plants. If you really, really think about it, man, they're just government officials just following whatever the CIA wants them to do, man.
At least. And of course, they also serve the purpose.
And I can admit, I may be thinking too deep. I already know I can be thinking too deep. But hey,
Breaking pirate morale, with notions like, well, if even the world's greatest swordsman has joined the world government, then what chance do I stand? However, this group remains largely controversial, particularly amongst the Marines, whose mandate it is to enforce the law. Well, when you have a group that is exempt from the law, it inevitably breeds discontent. In terms of any form of supervision, the 7 warlords are directly overseen by the Commander-in-Chief, who retains further jurisdiction over the Marines and Cypherball, although once again not CP0, who work directly for the warlords. As for their exact ranking within the organization, the Commander-in-Chief is quite absurdly high, sitting just below the Gorosei in terms of power, and at the time of this recording, the current Commander-in-Chief is still assumed to be Kong, who once served as the Fleet Admiral of the Marines. Although the world government does feature further individual associations with people in the series, the most notable being Dr. Vagabond, who was once arrested by the Marines for his notoriously dangerous experiments. However, he now serves as the Chief of Science, who has furthered the cause of the world government significantly through his exceptional innovation. As for geography, the effective headquarters of the world government is located on Marijois, and its various organizations are placed strategically around it. For example, the headquarters of the Navy, Marine Hood, was stationed near the Red Line in Paradise, with 2 sister institutions nearby, accessible via the Gate of Justice, those being the underwater prison of Impel Down, as well as the judicial island of Enslobby. Criminals are taken to be judged before being shipped off to Impel Down. And Enslobby also acts as a station for Cypherball agents and general employees of the world government not associated with the Marines. And with this base of operations, the world government has been able to spread their influence throughout the entirety of the 4 Blue Seas and the Grand Line. In fact, the only location in which the world government does not exert overwhelming influence is in the second half of the Grand Line, known as the New World. Due to the high danger of these seas, as well as the presence of the 4 Emperors, the New World acts as the final stronghold for those not associated with or actively fighting against the world government. Some more fun facts about the world government. Every 4 years, the world government holds an event known as the Reveille, whereby a selection of 50 leaders of the 170 nations associated are invited to gather on the Holy Land of Marijois for a 7-day conference in order to discuss events that could come to effect and reshape the world as a result. This event is also sometimes referred to as the Leveille due to that having been the official romanization used in manga of the Reveille. However, I refuse to accept this nonsense. Also of note is that it is not just kingdoms who are affiliated with the world government, but more democratic jurisdictions like the city of Water 7 have also been permitted to join the organization. Even with everything mentioned in this video, I'm not quite sure I've conveyed just how wildly corrupt the world government is. This should help. There was once a nation called Provence, which was known for mining the substance amberlead. Now, roughly a century before their mining industry began, the world government discovered that the substance was highly poisonous. However, they decided to sit on this information in order to directly profit from this temporary industry, which eventually resulted in the entire nation becoming infected with amberlead syndrome and the subsequent genocide of Provence. Jeez, that's the second time that genocide has come up in this video. Although in this case it should be noted that the people of Provence were sponsored by their neighboring countries rather than the world government itself. But as for another example, despite the fact that slavery is publicly outlawed by the world government, exceptions are made for the world nobles in which they serve, and thus very little effort is made to shut down the slavery industry. In fact, the world government itself has been known to buy its own slaves and to train them to become Marines or Cypherball agents, with the most well-known case of this being Mother Carmel, who operated under the alias of Mountain Witch, who even managed to acquire giants and sell them to the government, with Vice Admiral John Giant serving as a high-ranking individual acquired in this way. And so, as a result of the profound dickishness of the world government, an organization known as the Revolutionary Army has steadily been gaining power and resources and have their sights set on destroying the world government, or more specifically, the world nobles. And finally, a truly useless fact. One particular king who was associated with the government and who serves as the most recent chairman of the Reverie is named Hamburg. Now I'm hungry, so we should probably wrap this up. But that pretty much does it for the world government. If you enjoyed this video and the content this channel produces in general, please do consider donating to the Grand Line Patreon, because the support of all of you amazing people is what continues to make this channel possible. And if you'd like to see more videos like this applied to other anime manga series, please do check out my second channel, New World Review, for all of your wide needs. And if you'd like to join the fun at any time, please do head over to my Discord server.
another one.
Why is One Piece so long? With over 1,100 chapters and somehow just as many episodes, One Piece began in 1997 with 2024 marking its 27th anniversary.
That way I ain't even gotta explain all that shit to you, man. You can just understand. You can understand and understand. You know what I'm saying? I didn't started watching One Piece like I want to say in the beginning of quarantine. So yeah, it took me 6 years to fucking finish One Piece. Took me 6 years to bench One Piece, man. That shit was like watching Game of Thrones, high key. So this is so you can really understand.
Meaning that One Piece is now the exact same age as I was when I was 27. The reason why One Piece is so long is even more ridiculous than you can imagine. Because much like some of you watching, it was an accident. When series author Eiichiro Oda started One Piece, his plan was to create a story that would last 5 years. It was loosely going to be Luffy.
I didn't even know that neither.
His quest to defeat the 4 emperors and become a pirate king, something that was actually set up in the Romance Storm prototypes, where Crescent Moon Galley was aiming to become one of the versatile Suii, which may sound Japanese, but it's actually just the English words best free pronounced in Japanese. Now clearly something went very wrong, because we didn't even know the 4 emperors existed until about 10 years into publication, also known as 5 years past Oda's initial plan for the series. So why did it take a whole decade for Oda to begin writing the story he'd actually planned? Well, the first 100 chapters of One Piece are a prologue. The actual premise of the story doesn't even begin until Luffy enters the Grand Line. And the reason why that took so long is because Oda was having ever so much fun drawing the series that he shut off the narrative GPS and got a bit lost in his own story. Not in a bad way, mind you. He was having the time of his life. So during this time, Oda decided to quietly abandon his original 5-year plan. So he set effort in Japanese, of course, and just let the series evolve naturally. And with this unchecked ambition, Oda then made a series of small decisions that would have colossal ramifications for the length of the series. And the next 2.5 decades of manga can almost solely be attributed to completely arbitrary decisions. One of which is that to celebrate the very sexily numbered chapter 69, Eiichiro Oda decided to invite 7 friends over to thoroughly screw the ever-loving crap out of his original plan. I suppose if you wanted to blame a single character, then all of this falls on Yosaku. If you don't remember him, he's the dude who got deep-throated by a panda shark, and in chapter 69, he made a statement that would change One Piece forever when he introduced the concept of the 7 warlords of the sea, to which Luffy responded, "Who?" which is incorrect because the Who have had 8 members across their 6-decade musical career. The main issue here is the number 7. Oda chose that number not because he had plans for 7 characters, but because it sounded cooler than all of the other reasonable and much more achievable ones. And this extremely arbitrary decision has now been cited by Oda as the core reason why One Piece is now older than the Republic of Serbia. The reason why One Piece has been continually running for the past 20 years is because of the 7 warlords of the sea. One Piece was initially intended to be a tale of fighting against the 4 emperors, wrapping up after just 5 years. It struck me that having these cool 7 warlords of the sea in the comic would be awesome. It was just a passing thought, really. And then, just like a horror movie, it spiraled into such a long series. Why couldn't it be 5 or 2 warlords of the sea? I thought 7 warlords just sounded so much cooler. Well, I've no lingering regrets since I've already drawn what I've wanted to draw. Now, as a recap, the 7 warlords of the sea are Draco Mihawk, Kyoto Doflamingo Boa, Hancock, Bartholomew Kuma, Crocodile, Jinbei, no last name, and of course, the man whose body was designed to resemble very disappointingly small man parts in silhouette, Gecko Mori. So these are the fairly major characters, and in fact, 7 warlords serve as the main antagonist in 3 separate sagas. Not arcs, sagas. And also one arc being Amazon. But that combined with the Alabasta Dressrosa and Thriller sagas mean that we currently have a grand total of 324 chapters where dealing with a warlord of the sea is the main narrative focus, which is approximately 29% of One Piece to this point. So you can practically write off a whole decade to warlords alone. However, that doesn't accurately describe the magnitude of their impact. Because even in arcs when warlords aren't the main focus, there is almost always a warlord present in some sort of primary role, such as in Impelled Down, where Luffy used a warlord sneak into the prison and then recruited 2 more warlords to help him break out again. Then almost every single warlord, past and present, was involved in the Paramount War. After that, Fishman Island had a large focus on Jinbei, and even in the modern day, Egghead Island is heavily focused on Buffalo and Kuma and a group of warlord clones known as the Seraphim, with that arc being just over 60 chapters at this point. So if we're taking all of that into account, then it's not 29% anymore. We are now bloating the series to 50, maybe even 60%. And this doesn't yet account for the fact that there have been more than 7 warlords. After the time skip, half of them were replaced. One of those replacees being Trafalgar Law, who practically took over the role of protagonist for a while, another being the already prolific Buggy the Clown, and to this day there's even one warlord who we still haven't touched, being Edward Weevil. So we are well into the final saga of One Piece, and Warlord still bloating the story beyond any possible comprehension. There is no way that Oda could have realized the monster he unleashed when he arbitrarily decided their number back in 1998. Plus, we should also take into account the impact of the system itself, because the Warlords have been the primary focus of non-Warlords in the past. For example, Marine Admiral Fujitora's entire character arc to this point was about dissolving the Warlord system. And after Crocodile was beaten on Alabasta, the focus of the world government was refilling his seat, at which point early on, Blackbeard's goal was to fill that seat and become a warlord. You've also got Trafalgar Law's plan to become a warlord and then have Doflamingo resign from the warlords, and my god, it just goes on and on and on. It's almost like Eiichiro Oda has an internal policy of, if there's not a warlord on the screen, everyone should be asking, where's warlords? And it's at the point where it's far easier to calculate the amount of arcs and chapters that have nothing to do with warlords, which is approximately 350. And if we engage in some very powerful reverse math, we can work out that, and this is frankly incredible. And unbelievably arousing, 69% of the series, as a result of a decision made in Chapter 69, is warlord-driven or heavily warlord-assisted, all because Eiichiro Oda thought that number 7 was pretty cool. And if you want to put that in terms of real-life human years, that's just over 18 and a half, meaning that warlord content can now legally vote, drink smoke, join the military, and engage in various sex acts across the majority of the world. And you'd think that Oda would have learned from this warlord situation that he did, because many years later, Eiichiro Oda made the same mistake again, just this time worse. When on Sabi Archipelago, he introduced the 11 supernovas in the Spheres of Can. 2 of those 11 were Luffy and Zoro's. We're going to count them. We'll just call them the 9 supernovas. And I guess they have names, those names being Eustace, Captain Kidd, Master Soldier Killer, Trafalgar Law, Captain Gage, Mad Uncle Rouge, Jewelry, Bonnie, Hawkins, Diaz Drake, and bringing up the rear is Scratchmena, who I associate with Rhea because he has the word who in his name. Now look, 9 is traditionally a larger number than 7. That's already a bit of a problem, because again, these characters weren't created because Oda had plans for them. In fact, in his own words, I created supernovas right before the chapter where they got introduced. None of them existed in my plot notebooks before that chapter. I was in a desperate situation, worrying at this rate the arc would be interesting enough. Then inspiration for the 9 supernovas came to mind unconscious. I should have reduced the number of supernovas since there were too many. But look, I made all of them appear in the manga, and I'm really surprised they survived till now, since I thought about half of them would drop out of the tough new world already. So Oda created these 9 characters in his words unconsciously, just on a whim, because this arc wasn't feeling interesting enough. And these 9, they have done untold damage to the brevity or lack thereof of One Piece, because almost every single post-time skip arc features a supernova as a key focus. Trafalgar Law was obviously the star of Punk Acid and Dressrosa, whereas Koen was a major focus on Whole Cake Island, and Jewelry Bonnie is more or less the main protagonist of Egghead Island. And then to dive into the beast that is one and by far the longest One Piece arc to date, that arc featured all but 3 of the supernovas that Oda introduced on a whim during Sabi, which means that so far you can directly attribute 460 plus chapters of One Piece to prime supernova story focus, also known as 41% of the series. I say plus because Egghead Island isn't over yet at the time of this recording, so it's only going to get bigger into it. However, I should also say a lot of the supernova focus crosses over the wall, these 2 groups have strong compound effect on one another, as warlord stories became interconnected with supernova stories, such as the sinister bond between Trafalgar Law and Doflamingo, and the father-daughter relationship of Kuma and Bonnie. Again, Kuma and Bonnie is the story that we're currently examining. So even as late as chapters around 1100, the whole narrative is still being driven by warlords and supernovas. 2 arbitrary decisions that together have probably made this series 15 to 20 years longer than it should have been. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just very interesting the impact these 2 arbitrary decisions have had. And at this point, I should note that Oda's ideas don't go unchecked by the staff around him, not anymore anyway. And I've probably given the impression that One Piece is so long because Oda is a madman, completely out of control, and puts absolutely everything that enters his brain on the page. But it's very much the opposite. Sure, it was a bit like that in the beginning, but as time goes on, Oda and his editors have had to make a serious effort to streamline those ideas. According to Great Newspaper Volume 2, Oda has so many ideas that his editors need to frequently sit him down and find a way to compress those ideas. One great example of this is Punk Hazard, a Pokemon looking half by half eyesight. The reason why it's half of both is because Oda originally wanted them to be two different halves, one set on a fire island and one set on a snow island, which would have spiraled absolutely out of control as One Piece always does, so eventually he settled on combining both ideas into one. And the exact same thing happened in the very next one. Green Bit was originally going to be a whole island of its own before it was turned into the peninsula offshoot of Dressrosa. It was probably going to be a short stop, maybe like the Zoar Plain, and focused more on exploring the Tontaba tribe, the culture of the dwarves, etc. And it would have been its own arc with its own antagonist, probably someone related to the Don Quixote family, or maybe even a marine to introduce us to Fujitora. But the decision to combine Green Bit with Dressrosa happened startlingly late in the process, as in about 2 chapters before we were supposed to begin the Green Bit arc, which is why Law told Smoker that they were heading to Green Bit next instead of Dressrosa. And it's also speculated but not confirmed that Whole Cake Island and the German Kingdom were originally separate ideas that also got combined. So Eiichiro Oda and his editors are desperately trying to streamline his ideas to make them as efficient as possible and make them happen as quickly as possible. But if that's happening, why does it feel like One Piece is taking longer than ever before? Something else that doesn't get nearly enough credit, and I suppose blame for why One Piece is so long, is the scheduling of the manga, especially over the last decade or so. One Piece is published every week in a magazine, rather appropriately called Weekly Shonen Jump. And for the first 3 full years, Eiichiro Oda published 48 chapters a year in this magazine, which is the maximum that any author in Weekly Shonen Jump published, because the other 4 weeks of the year are mandatory magazine breaks. But over time, the average annual quantity of chapters consistently dropped. In the early 2000s, this average dropped to about 45 chapters a year, then by 2010, the average was around 40, which over the ensuing years dropped to 39, then 38, until we hit 2020, where there was a massive dip, to a total of just 33 chapters published that year, which many would be deemed to write off as an aberration due to the pandemic. Things have stayed quite constant since then, and if anything, have gotten worse, with 2023 dropping to 32 chapters, and 2024 is currently on track to equal that, and even potentially become the lowest year yet. This is very important because a lot of people are quick to accuse Oda of extending the story for profit, but the pacing of the story is largely the same. It's just that what would have taken Oda 1 year to draw before now takes closer to 2 years to put on page. For comparison, Dressrosa's 102 chapters took 2 years to publish, whereas Wano's 149 chapters took 4 years. And one reason for these increased amount of breaks is also its health. The average lifespan of a male mangaka in Japan is 62.6 years, which is quite horrendous compared to the life of an average Japanese man, which is 84.5. So it's a brutal industry, and frankly, Oda is superhuman for lasting as long as he has and remaining even this consistent. It's also becoming exceptionally common for Oda to take extended breaks as well, around 3 to 4 weeks at a time, and this happens for a wide variety of reasons. After Wano ended, I guess more accurately, during Wano kind of ending, Oda took a month off to visit live action, and even attended the premiere of live action in LA. He then took a second month-long break later that year to undergo surgery to fix his astigmatism, and he recently had a 3-week break earlier this year. But that's not all, because over the past year or so, Page then took a second month-long break later that year to undergo surgery to fix his astigmatism, and he recently had a 3-week break earlier this year. But that's not all, because over the past year or so, page numbers have also been reduced. It's becoming increasingly common to see 13-page chapters when the standard across Weekly Shonen Jump is 17 to 18, and eventually, with enough of these 13-page installments, you can have a situation where Oda can publish the same number of chapters as the previous year, but those chapters overall contain 25% less content, which means that the story itself moves along 25% slower. It's a constant battle. Eiichiro Oda, for all intents and purposes, has infinite ideas available. Those ideas then get taken and compressed into a reasonable amount of chapters. However, as time goes on, less chapters get published with less pages per chapter. So in a really bizarre way, the modern, completely streamlined story, moving faster than ever, is actually taking longer to tell than the early days of One Piece, when Oda was allowed to let his imagination run completely unchecked. So that takes us to the big question, which is when is One Piece going to end? In 2022, Oda stated that his goal was to end One Piece in 3 years. And if that was still true, then it puts us on track to see the final chapter sometime next year in 2025. However, realistically, there is no way I can see that happening. Because we still haven't finished Egghead yet, and next up it looks like we're going 12 off, and after that we have a whole final war to cover, and that little matter of reaching Laugh-Tale and finally making Luffy the Pirate King. And so at our current pace, that would mean that One Piece only has between 50 to 60 chapters left. And I just don't see all of that happening in the same time that it took to complete Fishman Island. So it feels very likely that One Piece will, at the very least, still be around to celebrate its 30th anniversary in 2027.
Damn. When did he make this video? I think I made this video a year later, bro. Last year. Yeah.
This man in a box has casually spoiled the end of One Piece, and you.
I don't know when One Piece won that, bro. One Piece is one of them shits. I love it, the motherfucking absolute shit out of One Piece. But that game is, yeah. It's been for a minute. What? No, 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 I'm not. I almost gave up the low. Oh. Bro, what the absolute fuck? That was a wrong button. Taki already fucked. I gotta wait now. Damn. Fuck. Lame, man, nigga. There go another lane. The lamest of all. Nigga. Oh. Ain't got that stick. I'm using my hands and my feet, nigga. Ain't got the stick. I'm using my hands and my feet, nigga. Ain't got the stick. I got my hands and my motherfucking feet, nigga. You ain't. You say you in the streets, but you ain't really a street nigga. Why you try to act like you know some? Bitch got sick, no cop for me. Pull up last night, roll for me. Too late, I ain't gone until 3. It was busy this and never getting no shakes. Niggas tryna pull me fast one. Had to burn a bridge with my own homie. Put something I swear to God.
man, it's true. Bitch, send me up, gonna drop, ain't no issue. Shit got me spinning, now she got my music tissue. Apologize for the words that make miss you. Put up on their neck, making moves like jujitsu. You was sending text, I was trying to send a missile. She was trying this, she a bitch.
No, I'm not.
It takes one call for a whole career fizzle. Front row, it's your hoe, push some. Why you trying to act like you know some? Why you trying to act like you know some?
This is spectacular shit. Boy, get your little ass down, boy.
Why you trying to act like you
No, son. Why you trying to act like you know something, nigga? You saying Spider-Man not here? You sleep, nigga. Who's here?
I'm using my hands and my feet, nigga. You got it playing on repeat, nigga. I got niggas that don't play more than me, with them. If you passing me the candy,